one time my mind didn't go there, you had to go there.
Keep going.
What is that? Factor -7n plus 7. So when I say factor, this is not a quadratic, so we're not going to do a normal factoring. All I'm looking for here is what the common factor is, so I can divide it out each of the terms and put it out front. So what goes into both -7 and 7? 7. So when I take a 7 out, I'm essentially dividing it out from each of the terms inside of that expression. So what's -7 divided by 7? -1, so I replace that with -1n. And then what's 7 divided by 7? So this factors into 7 times the quantity -n plus 1. That's all we're doing today. That's it. That's all we're doing.
No complex thing.
Nothing crazy.
Nope.
Just pulling out what the terms have in common.
No extra things.
Didn't we do this?
Yes, which is why I said review on it.
It's easy until you start working out like 4.
I would work in or work in.
It's the same thing.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Okay, next one. 4x plus 2. We're going to factor out the 2. So when I take a 2 out, Pfeiffer, what does it become? 4 divided by 2 is 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. So we are undistributing the common factor by putting it out in front of the parentheses. We couldn't go any further. There's nothing that comes out of 2 and 1. Well, I mean, other than 1, and 1 doesn't change anything. Exactly. Any questions on this one? No. Awesome. Let's do another one.
Examples as.
He said nothing crazy.
This is not crazy. So this one looks a lot scarier than the previous ones, but it works the exact same way. I'm going to break this into 2 steps. That way we don't get confused. So looking only at the numbers, 30 and 20, what is the largest number that comes out of both of them? 10. So when I take a 10 out, I'm left with 3 and 9 plus 2 n squared, right? All I did was take a 10 out. By doing that, it is much easier for me now to see what else my 2 terms have in common. What else do they have in common? They have 2 n's, right? At least. This one has 2 and this one has 9. So I'm going to take 2 out of both of them and put it out front. And when I do, I'm left with n to the 9 minus 2, which is 7. And then this n2 canceled out with that one. So this factors into 10n squared times the quantity, 3n7 plus 2. Okay, so we're okay with this step, right?
Yeah.
So then I looked to see what was the largest number of n's that came out of both of them. When I took 2 out of this one, 9 minus 2 became 7. When I took 2 out of this one, 2 minus 2 became 0, which means I can exclude the n altogether. Questions, concerns, or issues with that one? That is the hardest that today gets.
So it's just subtracting.
Yes. That is not, well, I'm going to do a couple more just in practice.
Oh.
Well, I have 5 more, but we're not going to do 5 more. You're learning to talk out of my own language. Hey, on your own, please factor this one. So this one is 30k to the 4th minus 21k to the 5th. I do suggest you do this in 2 steps, like the previous one, and then I'll have somebody talk us through it. Grant, what do we do first? can take a k to the fourth out of both, right? No, 4k is different than k4. Yes, I can take 4 k's out of each of them. So when I do, I'm left with 30, and then how many k's are left when I take 4 out of this one? None. So then minus 21. How many k's are left when I take 4 out of this one? So it becomes k to the fourth times 30 minus 21k. Good. What next? I could take a 3 out. You could take a negative out, but it's not going to change anything. Also, my first term is not negative, so we tend not to do that. But we can take a positive 3 out of everything. Sorry. So when I take a 3 out of 10, I get 30. When I take a 3 out of negative 21, I get negative 7. So this becomes 3k to the fourth times the quantity 10 minus 7k.
Wait, how'd you get rid of the k4?
Just like on the previous one, I recognized that each of these had at least 4 k's in them. So when I took all 4 k's out of this one, there were no k's left. When I took 4 k's out of this one, there was 1 left.
Probably based on that though.
That's okay. That's different and kind of complex to think about. I get that. Any questions so far? I know. So we'll do one more, and then I think I'll just let you work on homework for the rest of class. Nice, easy day. Right? You don't trust it. Just wait till tomorrow, man.
I'm calling it.
I mean, it could be worse. You could be doing what my calculus class is doing.
No,
Show us
why
an
do you
example
think
of what
I'm
you're
not
doing.
taking free?
Oh, I can totally do that.
Wait,
Why
can
do
you
you
like
think
I've actually.
Break this down.
I knew it would get to this point. That's why I decided to bail that out. So I don't have to take free calc.
Pre-cal's fun, man.
No.
Pre-cal's fun.
No.
I know what your free calc class is doing.
I could show you a
That's-
pre-calc. But you guys are taking that next year. So why would I do that? Some of you,
I'm not taking a math
some
class
of
next
you
year.
are.
I've already figured it out. Not doing that. Well, technically I had to take half of that.
Yes.
I got.
Oh, right.
Okay, Kaylee, what am I gonna do first? Okay, so Kaylee recognizes that a 2 goes into both of those, so we're gonna take out 2. When I take out 2, I'm left with negative 12 minus 3x squared, correct? So what we also recognize is that 2, while it was a common factor, was not the largest common factor. So as Camden pointed out, I noticed that I can still take a 3 out of both 12 and 3. In fact, I can take a negative 3 out of both of them since they're both negative. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. The 2 out front remains, and it's just going to multiply into the negative 3 that I'm also pulling out. Negative 12 divided by negative 3 is positive 4. Negative 3 divided by negative 3 is positive 1. And then the x squared also remains, which means my last step is just to go ahead and multiply these two things together. Not everybody recognizes immediately that negative 6 is the largest factor. So if you did, you jumped right to the step and that's fine. But you might not notice what the largest common factor is, so you might want to have to do this a couple of times. That's entirely fine. Just keep going until there's nothing more that comes out of the terms inside the parentheses. And then we're finished.
Wait, I got,
Yes, sir.
I did 6 right off the bat. Did I just?
Then you should have negative 4 minus x squared, and then you can take negative 1 out. Yeah. Any other questions? How bad was this?
I could show someone.
Yeah. Just you might not have seen that automatically. Okay, well, homework's on Canvas. Mandolin said I told you to do evens, so you're gonna do the evens on that. Pre-calc or calc? Which one?